Hey guys, it's me, Andrew, just here with a brief history of the game company known as Bungie. You may have heard of them, they kind of made the Halo series. Anyway, we're just going to go through their history and learn a little bit more about the company. Alright, here we go. The first thing that Bungie started out with was a Pong clone known as Gnop, which is Pong spelled backwards for those of you who aren't dyslexic like myself. This Gnop was pretty much just a way for Alex Serapin and Jason Jones, the two founding members of the company, to just get kind of started. And Bungie kind of started in a basement-like setting. It was just these two guys working together and making games together and trying to get out there. Well, Gnop came out in 1991, in May 1991 actually. And despite the hard times, they decided, hey, we can make money doing this, let's go ahead. And so in Chicago, 1991, Alexander and Jason decided to set up a company in order to publish the game known as Operation Desert Storm, which would be a top-down strategic tank action game released for the Macintoshes. Why did they choose Macintosh? Well, it had a familiarity and it was easy to use for people that weren't really tech oriented, whereas the PCs at the time were pretty oriented. I think the next slide actually has a picture. Yeah, there's Desert Storm. So they're working on Desert Storm. It was a minor hit, definitely. 2,500 copies sold. It had really, the graphics weren't so good, but the gameplay was really interesting. They really, took a lot of time working on the user game interface. Anyway, back to Minotaur. As you can see, here's Jason Jones. He actually had to box these games by himself, by hand. You can see him assembling the boxes there on the floor. The game box itself is over to the right. It's their second release or third release, depending on how you count them. It too sold 2,500 copies. It was a dungeon crawler, but the unique thing it had was networking. It used Apple Talk or modems in order to connect to other computers so you could play with your friends and stuff. So that was really a step forward in the industry, something that really wasn't being worked on. Bungie, as we'll see later, is very good at working with networking and multiplayer. Alright, their third or fourth game release is Pathways into Darkness. It's a text-based shooter that had guns and demons and stuff, sort of like Doom. It's very similar to Doom, actually. Wolfenstein 3D came out the same year. Minotaur was released in 1992, and so they started working on this, right after. And so in 1993, this was released, and they really what they wanted to do was to take Minotaur and put it in a tube. It had some first-person shooter elements. A lot was taken from id Software. The cool thing about this game was that the sound actually made you sound like you were in a tube space, like you were in a confined space. So it actually played into their idea of making it a tube. They made really good use of the Mac RISC chipset, so the graphics were pretty good and probably the best looking thing on the Macintosh at the time for 1993. Plot also began in this game. They actually started having a plot in their game, so that became a core foundation of the company and their creative process. Their next big project, and probably the start of really Bungie as we know it today, it was Marathon. As you can see, Marathon has kind of similarities to Halo. The Marathon symbol is actually used in Halo later. The Marathon character, who is a security guard, looks similar to Master Chief. Also, the plot of Marathon is at least the first one is you are a security guard on a USC ship, or the United Earth Space Command ship named Marathon. You're guided by an AI to defeat aliens, and you go around the galaxy and do all sorts of different missions. Sounds kind of familiar. A terminal system's also in this, and that's how the story was told, was by reading terminals. The second game, Durandal, features an rampant AI. Again, another element used in Halo. Uh, and this AI is like the main enemy. And then Infinity is created, and Infinity has a level creator, so you, the player, could take levels and make them, and then share them with friends and stuff. So that kind of plays into custom games and stuff in Halo. Again, Marathon is very precursor to Halo. In this next slide, you can see that the assault rifle from Marathon and even the rocket launcher from Marathon Infinity look a lot like the weapons from Halo. So you can see where Bungie was sort of moving into the direction. It was their real first-person shooter. I personally enjoyed this game. It was really fun. A lot of good gameplay and the good story. Then their next game, after the 1994 release of Marathon, and then their 94, 95 release of the sequels, 96 Myth comes out. Myth was a tactical strategy game. You took units and you fought other units. The first game was called Myth: The Fallen Lords, and it was published in 1996, and it came out for PC and Mac. There's a cult following for this game series, and its sequel, Myth 2: Soulbringer. What was cool about these games is they pioneered networking and online gaming. Also about this time, Marty L. Donald, who becomes the composer of the Halo series music, comes up and starts working with the team in 1996. So the Bungie guys are starting to get, their act together. In 1997, a Marathon pack with all three games were launched, and then Bungie starts another company in San Jose, California called Bungie West. And 1999, Oni is starting to be developed. Oni's sort of like an action stealth combat game. It plays a role in influencing games such as Metal Gear Solid 2 and Blood Rain. It was very fast-paced, and it featured a female protagonist named Kanoko, but the difference was the West branch wanted to make her sexy, as you can see on the right there, but the Bungie studio did not want her to become another Lara Croft, so they really kind of cut down on her sexiness, but the gameplay appeal was pretty good. It was released for the PlayStation 2, PC, and Mac. And then we come to Halo. Yes, Halo, the big Bungie game. This game really made the company stand out and become from an independent company to someone that's big. Fortunately for them, when they released the information about it, Microsoft started getting interested. Back in 1999, when Oni was being developed, they had made a partnership with Take-Two Interactive, who had bought 19.9% share in the Bungie company. So it helped them get a lot of cash so they could start making more games. But around late 1990 into 2000, the Take-Two partnership kind of fell through, and so Take-Two left, and they kept Oni and the rights to Myth, and they released Oni in 2001. And so in 2000, Microsoft gave a deal with Bungie, said, you can work on the Xbox and produce Halo for the Xbox and PC, and we will, continue to support them. So they started to feel the crunch eventually. By November 2001's coming up, Microsoft's corporates, such as Bill Gates and such, kept saying, where's our game? We want our game. And so Bungie ends up having to release Halo November 15th, 2001 for the Xbox, and those for the PC and Mac versions are going to have to wait 2 more years, unfortunately. But things were changed for Bungie forever. They had a hit on their hands, and Xbox had a killer app that brought it into the gaming community. It was Microsoft's gateway buster into the console war. To celebrate, they were moving to another apartment after during the Halo making. So they spent $1,000 in the old apartment that they were working in, the old apartment building that they were working in, to throw a party, and so that party is still talked about today, apparently. Halo 2 comes out next. It had to go against big game titles such as Half-Life 2 and Doom 3 at E3, Bungie was worried that because the graphics weren't as good as either of these games, that people wouldn't be taken back by it. However, the trailer featured something those other trailers didn't. It was more of like a movie style trailer, as it gave a little bit of the plot and continued the story rather than just showed gameplay and enhanced graphics. So it was a big success amongst fans, and Halo 2 had a lot of hype for it. And when it was released in November 2004, it made a big splash. Also, I forgot to mention this earlier, but Halo 1, the PC version, they started having a custom edition of Halo called Halo Custom Edition, and it was sort of a precursor to the Forge system that we'll see later in Halo 3 and other games. So, and that kind of goes back to the Marathon's level creator. So an Vista version of this of Halo 2 was released in May 31st, 2007. So PC players were pretty happy about that. Halo 2 also birthed the franchise as book titles were made that kind of filled in the gaps between Halo 1 and Halo 2. Action figures released, and that released a whole lot of uproar, shirts and mugs and such, a lot of merchandising. Then Halo 3. There we are, we're at Halo 3. Halo 3 was launched at September 25th, 2007. That's the North American release date. It was a critical success and had a lot of hype and a lot of marketing for it. It became the 7th best-selling 360 game and the 2007 best-selling game of all time. It was followed by a prequel, Halo ODST. If you can see here, here's like a kind of a stress drawing that the team had during Halo 3. Here's a ODST, which actually was the first Halo game to feature you playing not as Master Chief. You played as an ODST, just a regular Marine. You were a normal human. So after that, Halo Wars was released in 2009 as well. It was an RTS made by Ensemble Studios. Bungie influence going further than its doors. And then Halo Reach was released in 2010 of September 14th. And it was a prequel to the Halo trilogy, whereas ODST was just a prequel to Halo 3. And then after that game, on October 5th, 2010, Bungie separated from Microsoft, and so they wanted to try something different. They wanted to try the adventure. This produced other projects. Halo in particular became a big thing because it made Xbox what it is today. Also launched machinima titles, let machinima that craft grow. Red vs. Blue became really popular because of Halo, because it used a glitch in the first Halo where if you lowered the gun, you could bob your head up and down. Arby the Chief kind of got its success from the Halo 2 merchandising. You took the action figure. He took John CJG, the creator, took action figures and made a puppeteering of it, and he also implemented some machinima aspects into his craft. So Halo definitely made a bigger impact outside of just the gaming community. And so after Halo, Bungie started to do an app market thing where independent developers could release games, and that was called Bungie Aerospace. So they were giving back to the gaming community. And Bungie's next project is called Destiny, and it'll be launching in 2013, or at least we'll have more information in 2013. Bungie's pretty secretive, which seems to be a core of their gaming creation process. This game, Destiny, is also going to be published by Activision. Anyway, that's all I have for you. That's Bungie's history. Here's my sources. All right, see you guys later.